Hi, it's Rachel, and I have Melanie here helping me out today. And we are working with Sam and Mary, and we're going to be working on the loose leash walking technique since you want their leash training done together. Now, they've both been introduced to our loose leash walking and the heeling. We are going to try it together so we can kind of give you some tips and everything. I have Melanie helping me out so we can each focus on one dog instead of one person trying to correct both dogs if needed. That can be quite a challenge. Come here, Sam. Now, like I said in the previous videos, for the best success, easiest for you and best success for them, you really need to practice the heeling and the loose leash walking separately because they need to be pros at it and automatically walk nicely on a leash as soon as you put them on it on their own before you can expect them to do it together. That's because dogs have a real pack mentality. They feed off of each other's energy, and if you're stressed and it's chaotic trying to control both of them, they really feed off of your negative energy too. So if you're calm and relaxed and able to devote all of your attention to one dog, it works out a lot better. And also, if they're both pros at the heeling and loose leash walking, then bringing them together, you have nowhere near as much work for yourself as you do if they're both still working on it and both aren't very, don't have it down really well yet. It's, setting them up to succeed the best if you give them both the individual attention that they need. So, we are going to do some work today with them. I want them to at least be together to kind of simulate the kind of energy that they'll have on a walk together, but they each have their own handler. So, if you have an extra person that is able to help you out with the walking, that will help a lot. I know we say that for loose leash walking, you should do it for at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. And of course, if you're walking them separately, having to do that separate times, that can add up to quite a bit of time if you're doing it separately with a dog. So, if you don't have the time to do the training individually with them, I would definitely suggest taking an additional person so you can each focus on one dog. That makes it the easiest for them, and that gives them the best opportunity to succeed. So, first we're going to start off with the back method in walking together. Now, this isn't perfect since we're trying to keep them somewhat together here, but say if Mary starts pulling while she corrects Mary, I'm just going to stop with Sam. I'm not going to give him a correction if he doesn't need it. I'm just going to kind of wait around for her so we can stay more or less together in this area. Now remember, the back method is when you're walking and they start pulling, you plant your feet, snap your fingers, which I'm bad at, so I pat my leg and say, stand back. And so they come towards you and you get some nice slack in the leash. Now, I know another thing that we talk about is giving them the full length of the leash for loose leash walking. Individually, that's fine to do. However, with both of them, having two big dogs on 6-foot leashes taking you in every which way direction can get kind of crazy. So we've just tied loose knots in each leash just to shorten it up a little bit. So we have a little bit more control so they can't get as twisted around us and everything like that. So, we're going to start off with the back method. We might get off camera, but we're just going to be doing the back method over and over and see how well they respond to it. So, let's go. Stand back. Stand back. Stand back. Good boy. Good job. Boy. Sam, this way. This way. Good boy. Okay, so far so good. They've had quite a few minutes to be out here and kind of acclimate to this area. This is kind of, excuse me, the best we can do under the circumstances. We can't take them out, on a 20-minute walk around the block or anything like that. This is kind of what we have available to us. And so they aren't really being exposed to new things. We're just counting on, outside distractions for them. So they're doing pretty well in this area. since they do calm down once they're in an area for a few minutes and not going somewhere like super new and exciting, maybe if you take them like to a park or to a grassy park, something like that, and just kind of walk them around the perimeter. If they're there for a long time, they'll gradually get used to the area, and there'll be a few new distractions, but it's not like they're going to be discovering something new around every corner. So maybe that will help, so they're a little bit more calm and not pulling as much, just so that you can really practice them doing it correctly instead of it being a constant struggle with them. So I'm going to walk them more off to the side now and just kind of around. And like I said, we might go off camera, but we're just going to be practicing the back method. And it helps that we can each devote our full attention to one dog. So here we go. And back. Good boy. Stand back. Good boy. Good job. Okay, so they're doing pretty well. They were pulling a little bit more off to that side, but they're doing a good job. Now, I find that the reverse method is a little more useful. The back method is still really good to practice, so it's important to practice each a lot with each dog to see which works best and also whichever works best for the situation. The reverse method, remember, is when, say, Sam starts to pull straight in front of you, you turn 180 degrees, give the leash a little jiggle or a little pop and say, Sam, this way, and you start walking that way. That's really good for getting their attention, like if they think they're being left behind and they're missing out on something, they want to leave whatever it is that they're looking at and go see the next new thing. At least dogs kind of have a bit of a short attention span like that and are easy to distract. So we can use that to our advantage here. Now, what I really like about the reverse method is it's really easy to do when the dog is doing something, pulling in and like off to the side or behind you and like lagging. If they're really sniffing something on the ground and lagging, they might not respond to just asking them to come back, saying, Sam, back, 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 anything like that if they have something they're really looking at. So, with the reverse method, go 180 degrees from the dog. So if Sam's pulling that way, I'm going to turn this way, even if I'm trying to walk this way. It's only 90 degrees from where I'm walking, but we're correcting him. So 180 degrees from wherever the dog is going. And so it's really useful, like if he is lagging, I just kind of lean forward a little bit, give him a little bit more of a tug, and say, Sam, this way. If the dog is just pulling straight in front of you, the reverse method can get a little cumbersome if you're trying to get somewhere and you have to stop to go reverse and back and forth and back and forth. It can take, kind of like playing leapfrog, it takes a while to actually get there. But if they're excited, sniffing off to the side, and you're walking, as long as it's not on a sidewalk where you'd be walking into the street, but like in a park, in a large area, then you can go to the side and correct it that way. So we're going to focus on that reverse method as we take them around again. So good. Sam, this way. Good boy. Good boy, Sam. This way, this way. Okay. Good. Now I'm going to try to open up this gate. So this is a new place where the dogs haven't been, and so we'll see how excited they get if they'll want to pull in that way, which it looks like they do. Okay. Sam, this way. Sam, Sit. No. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Hush. Okay. So a little bit of distraction with them barking there. I know it's kind of hard to see way back in the corner there, but once we opened that gate and there was kind of like a new place for the dogs to go, they started pulling a lot more. So you can see I could only get a few steps with Sam, Sam, before he started pulling. And after doing it a few times, we were able to get farther and farther, which that's your goal. Now, another thing that I noticed, Sam, very quiet. So you're getting a little overexcited. Sit. See if you can get her to sit. 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 Sorry it's so noisy. In this case, we're trying to get them to sit in order to distract them from the people that they see and doing the barking, which is kind of difficult. So the barking is something they could definitely work on as far as distractions, but that's something I think that would be easier to work on, again, one-on-one. So if you take them somewhere, if you're practicing loose leash walking out on your own with them, well, with each dog separately, and they start barking, if you take along a small squirt bottle, that's what we use for correction here. Just spray them, plain old water in it does just fine. It's just enough to distract them and kind of hopefully keep them from barking like that. And as you can see, they feed off of each other's energies, and it's really hard to get control of them because they set each other off. So that little caveat aside, as far as the loose leash walking, you can see after correcting them a few times, we were able to walk farther back there before they started pulling, which is exactly the point of the loose leash walking. Now, also what I noticed with Sam is when Mary would go past him, he would pull a little bit more. So another benefit to having a couple different people working, so you each having a dog, is if, say, Sam needs more correction than Mary does, Mary can continue on her walk. And with Sam being left behind, that's a really good distraction and temptation for him because he will keep pulling. And if you're persistent with him and you don't let him get away with that pulling, even if Mary is far away, that's really good to practice with. So you can work on them not pulling as much despite whatever temptation there is. So even if they are, you know, they're pretty attached to each other, you know, brother and sister, best friends. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to have one person stick around and wait while you're correcting one dog. They can keep going, and it's good practice for Sam and Mary so that they learn to walk nicely together. And also the point of loose leash walking is when you put the leash on them, they walk perfectly all the time, which that's the best way to get them to walk nicely when they're together, is if they're doing it perfectly one-on-one. So if they have the temptation of seeing one, of seeing, you know, their brother or sister way ahead of them, and they're not able to get to them, they might be pulling a lot. And by addressing the pulling right then, that will really help teach them that they don't get to pull. Pulling is not going to get them what they want, and that you're in control, not them. So that can be a really useful thing to work on. So we'll continue to work on this, but definitely when you get back from your trip and pick these guys up for boarding, take the time to work with both of them separately. And I think that's where you will see the most growth in them. All right, this was Rachel and Melanie with Mary and Sam, and we were working on loose leash walking.